the polluted atmosphere, so it is safe to look at the sun at sunset. Sometimes, because of these large sunspots, they are even visible by unaided eye. But now we have some other examples. Almost at any time, we are almost at the maximum of this solar cycle, so we can see more and more sunspots. The more sunspots we see, it means the more active the sun. So now they have started counting the solar cycles since the 17th century. And we are counting since then. We are now 25th cycle. Every 11 years we have one cycle. How could we know that the sun is rotating? By observing the sunspots. They start appearing from the left limb, which is we call it the eastern limb of the sun, and they are moving. So we are almost talking about what is the moving? Why is it moving? It means the sun is rotating. And last year's task was to calculate the rotational period of the sun, and we could find that it takes almost 25 to 26 days to rotate in around here in between 5 or 0 to 35 degrees. So this is the rotation or the period taken by the sun to rotate. Other higher latitudes, they are less speed, they are slower in rotation. So this is the equator, and we are talking about between 25 and 20 days to have one revolution or one rotation around the sun. In the very beginning of the solar cycle, the sunspots usually appear higher in the latitudes, almost around 35, 30, 40, something like that. And with the progress of the solar activity cycle, they start appearing closer to the equator. So we are expecting this year, in the coming few months, because the peak of our solar cycle will be in July, coming July. It means that most of the sunspots will appear around the equator. This phenomena has been noticed for a long time, and one of the scientists called Maunder, he noticed it and he did this diagram called Maunder butterfly. It looks like a butterfly. It shows the numbers of sunspots appearing in the beginning of the solar cycle and the end of the solar cycle. For example, this one is the 24th solar cycle. It started, you see, these sunspots appearing in the high latitude. Then with the progress of the cycle, they come closer to the equator. This is the equator. So they are appearing closer and closer to the equator, which form the butterfly shape. Now we are in the 25th, almost half of the 25th, because it takes 11 years, and we are in 2024, next year 25. Yani we are about to finish this solar cycle. Since that year, since 1760, they started counting these cycles. And this is one peak, second, third, fourth, and so on. And now we are with 25th cycle. This is our cycle. See, for example, this cycle was so active from 1950 to 1960, or 1960 to 1970, it was so active that the number of sunspots was very large. Last year, or last cycle, it was almost this. How can we know that it's active? The number of the sunspots. Here is the number of sunspots. We are talking 50, 100, 150, 200, and 250. See the maximums. So this cycle was active, very active. This cycle was very active, and so on. Last solar cycle was almost 120 sunspots. The maximum was about 120. Our 25th cycle, is it going to match the previous cycle? Is it going to exceed it? a peak better, a higher peak, or it will be lower. This is what we are going to study in the other project. So the official prediction of the maximum of our 25th cycle is this one. We are going to fit our results with these the expected results. Okay. One more thing about the sun, that due to the solar wind, coming from the sun, solar wind are electric particles. They are hurling towards the earth and in the universe as well. But we are protected by a shield, which is again the magnetic field around the earth, which prevents these electric particles to penetrate into the earth, and it will kill everything here. So they head towards the North Pole and the South Pole to show us something called the aurora. The aurora, these, the interaction between the charged particles coming from the sun and the atmospheric particles, nitrogen, oxygen in our atmosphere, high, very high. It is, you are talking about 400 kilometers above the surface of the earth. Last few days ago, last week, some people could see the aurora from Saudi Arabia last Saturday. You see? Why? Because we are having a good and an active solar cycle. We have a lot of sunspots to appear. So if you want to see this, usually these auroras are seen from high latitudes. It's rarely to see them from lower latitudes like ours. We are talking about 25 latitude here in Doha, 30 in Amman and these countries. Usually we never saw these phenomena in lower latitude. Usually they are seen in London and above. You are talking about Stockholm, about those countries which are very high in the latitude. Rarely to see, but we can believe that they saw this aurora due to the sunspot activity on the sun. Okay, now here how to call or how to calculate or to name the sunspot. Usually sunspots are appearing in groups, so they are calling them group AR. Okay, this is active region. Sometimes the active region is more than one spot. Sometimes it's one single spot. It's again called active regions, just like this one, 30, 34, 30, 35. Sometimes the 30, 36. It means this appeared after this one. This one, sunspots emerge from below the sun anytime, any direction. You can't guess. You can't say that the one here is older than the one here. No. Anywhere at any time you can see a sunspot. So this one 30, 36. This 30, 37. So this 30, 31. It means that this is the newest should appear here, not appear in the end limb of the sun. So at any time, sunspot can appear. Okay. How to see or how to observe sunspots or the solar cycle or the sun itself safely? We have four methods. Two methods we are going to carry out in our schools. The first one is the projection method. We don't need to look at the telescope. We just point the telescope towards the sun, so it will be reflected on a board, whiteboard, and you will be able to see the sunspots by focusing. When you focus the telescope, sunspots will appear. The second method is using the filter. We put a filter in front of the objective, not on the eyepiece, in front of the. You have to filter the light before before entering the telescope, so that you can see the sun safely. You can use these goggles, the solar eclipse goggles, and this is called a telescope, solar telescope. It is equipped with a filter called H alpha. This allows you to see the prominences, the more details about around the sun during the eclipse. It is special and very good, but it's very expensive as well. We don't have it. Now, I'm starting to talk about the projects. So, inshallah, I will not take long time in that. Okay, the very first is a copy from the last year's project. We asked you last year to promote astronomy among your students. And we asked you that each team, which is made of 4 students, at maximum, 3 to 4 students, should deliver lectures or make some activities to promote it among the highest number of students at your school. I know some schools, maybe they don't have 200 students, but I want you to do your best to target the highest number of students. What we want from this? See, this Third As-Salam school last year, is there anybody from Third As-Salam? Yes, Miss, the teacher left your school last year. Yes. So, very, very nice photograph. Why? Because it is showing the students, it is showing the telescope, it is showing the theme. We are talking about projection of the solar disk on, so everything is appearing. Here again, in the mosque of the school, they sat down, students are sitting, attending, student is explaining, and the theme is there. He's talking about the sun, so it is very clear that he's talking about the sun. I like this. So when you take a photo for your students, which is one of the tasks here, I want you to take a good photo, high resolution photo, because I usually, because I'm representing Qatar in the International Astronomical Union, and I usually send them these photos that we are doing these astronomy events, which are unique. Actually, they are unique. We are doing astronomy for the sun for the 3rd year. This is the 3rd year we are observing the sun. Now we are talking about 60 or more schools purchase telescopes for this event, which is rare in the world. We are doing a great job, actually. What we are going to do, we are going to ask the students to deliver the lecture or to make the talk about the 25th solar cycle, targeting at least 200 students, either together or dividing them. The means, I don't care. You can bring one class.